everyone, welcome back to my channel. I am joined today by a really special guest, Jean-Charles. Thank you so much for coming onto my channel.
Thank you to receive me. It's a pleasure for me to be here with you. Thank you very much.
So let me give a background to everybody as to how we met and why you are here, because I think that's pretty important. Most of my guests that watch my channel know that I don't do a lot of interviews. I don't consider this channel a podcast. It's really more about sharing the information I get from my own sessions with children and adults, and doing my part and my role in raising awareness, raising the consciousness, and helping people to feel more empowered through many ways. But when I find extraordinary, exceptional people, I love to bring them on because I think it really helps people to get a better understanding of this world and the vastness of it. And you have such an incredible story, and you're actually very talented. And I'll get to what I'm talking about in a second. But Jean-Charles and I actually met at the first GSEC conference in Orlando in 2023. So we were both presenting at the very first conference that they held in Orlando, Florida. And I had the privilege of meeting you and your amazing wife, Melanie. And I remember something. You went on stage, and I was in the front row, and I didn't really know much about you at the time. And I could tell, because I'm a very good reader of people. I'm very empathic, very intuitive. And I just felt your heart just open up and expand, and you started bawling, and you were crying up on stage, and you couldn't stop yourself. And I started to tear up because I felt this immense emotion coming out of you. And I felt to myself, this guy's for real. And he has a real story to tell. And he is really speaking from the heart. And I never forgot that. And your wife went on stage, and I think it actually made it worse because you you cried more. But it just showed the humanness, the side that compassionate side of you. And we're so filled with the community right now, filled with egos and power, and everybody wants to one up each other on their stories, and they're competing. And instead of competing with each other, we should be sharing our stories and unifying so that we can work together. And you, my friend, are one of those that is trying to share your story to help bring people together and unite. So you have a very incredible story that I'd love for you to share, but you're also a filmmaker, and you share your journey through these documentaries, films. I'm not sure what you call them. And they are incredible. I have seen, I don't know how many you have, to be honest, to let the audience know, but I've watched almost 5 of them. And I'm not lying, I cannot stop watching them. I'm glued to the screen, and they're so well done. They're so engaging. And it's what's special to me about your documentaries is I work with children a lot. That's predominantly what I do, but I also work with adults. And a lot of what you share and a lot of what you say in your story, in your films, if not greater than 80%, I have seen it before. And I'm not saying I've been there, but I've seen it through the eyes of my clients, through the eyes of the children that I work with. And I know the truth behind it. And I have to share you with my audience. So for those of you that don't know who you are, that was a very long-winded introduction, but please, Jean-Charles, tell everybody your background and who you are and what you're about, and just start wherever you want.
Oh, I think you made it, but okay. Um, my name is Jean Charles. I'm a French. I lived in France. There is 22 years ago, and now I'm in a Canadian citizen. So I studied the video editing since I was young, for visual effects for a lot of uh, company in different place in Hollywood. And I say Hollywood, just for the movie. Okay, made the special effects for people and put in a transfer. They download the link, and after they reintroduce inside the timeline. So I had experience since I was young about extraterrestrial encounters and contact. And at this moment, it was very dangerous for me to explain what I lived. So I decided to secret this. Only my parents and my close friend was know my story. And the advice was stay in the shadow because it's very too dangerous for you. So I wait patiently during a lot of decade, disclose my story, and I decide to stop to work for a lot of people, a lot of company, and I decide to make all my energy focus to my story about my documentary. Some people mix that. Oh, he's a producer, he's a special effects maker, so this is a lie. And no, 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 no. I use my abilities to video editing to explain
Yeah.
for the people myself. You know, you can explain to a people and the people can make a movie about you, but the first end is you. So
Mhm.
the best thing is to make your own movie. And I have these abilities to make movie for people. So I decided to make my own movie. And the first thing I made, it was to make because people advise me, don't do this, it's too strong. So I decide to make like a X-File movie, a series, mix the reality with a part of fiction. But when you know my story now, you understand it wasn't fiction. It was
Right.
true at 85%, and the rest was fiction. You know, the character, Jonathan Fox, like Fox Mulder, and it was, you know, it was a blink for this series. So I decided to make the movie was a South Shore origin. Why South Shore? Because I live in the South Shore of Montreal in Canada. So I decided to make my story about this because I live near close a mountain, look like the mountain of the Close Encounters of the Third Kind, Spielberg. Dun, 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 pom, pom. So
Yeah.
it's like this. So there is a many sites here and many contacts. So I decided to make the canvas of my story about this, and inside I put everything very personal about me. I'm not a special agent in a real life. I'm only a simple guys who live a extraordinary experience, and I decide to put everything I lived inside this movie fiction. And after this, people was very, oh my God, amazed. And I say, okay, this is the first step for the disclosure, for the soft disclosure. It was very clever to make this because, you know, there is, at this moment, there is 20, 25 years or 10 years. It wasn't the same thing for the disclosure movement now, you know. So I was very be careful when I made my movie. And after this, I realized that people was very interested, but they were in question and say what is true and what is not true. And I was trapped in my movie. And I say now, if I say it's true, maybe they believe that it wasn't. So Melanie told me, One, you must explain your real life. That's enough. You put the first stone, and now you are able to explain the idea of the start of the movie. So I decided to make a Connection Aliens. It was a short capsule video, free on my YouTube channel, and I explained naturally with my phone and Melanie filming me in the car, and I say, you know, my name is Jean Charles. I live this, and it was 2 seasons, and people was, oh my God, so that's true. That's not only a director or producer of movie, this is real? And I say yes. And people was, okay, did you made a, a documentary about your life? And I say yes. And I made Starseed Revelation 1. During this interview, Melanie, my wife, interviewed me, and I passed through my life and explained everything I lived since my birth. And it was another stone. And people say, oh my God, that's amazing. But there is another but. But if, I don't remember, it's Edgar Casey says, if you have extraordinary life, you must have extraordinary evidence. So I
Yep.
say, I had this evidence. I had testify and witness about my life, but I'm not sure these people would agree to be in a light. So I was trapped again and say, oh, maybe it's a story, he invented a story, nobody knows. Maybe his parents can testify, maybe it's alive or they die, maybe the best friend, maybe. And I say, if you don't try, you don't know. So I say to my parents, uh, Dad, Mom, I have an idea, but I don't know if you are correct for this. I would like to make a sequel of Starseed Revelation, so Starseed Revelation 2. And I say, this is my idea. Would you like to testify what you lived with me since my birth? And my dad say, let me think before I ask you, I answer you. And he say, 2 minutes. Yes, with your mom, we accept. And I say, what? We accept to be in your movie and explain what we live with you since your birth. And I say, this is a gift from the stars for me. Because how many whistleblower have the chance to have two parents, 84 years old now, explain in the face of the camera what
Right.
they live since 56 years ago with me? No,
Yep.
no one. So with this, I say to my best friend, Laurent, uh, you want to be in my movie to explain what you live? He said, yes. You are not afraid? No. I'm your best friend, and I want to testify what I live and what I was witness with you, and a second person, and a second person, and a lot of person decide to put or testify into my movie. And my dear friend Dan Winter, the great
Hmm.
scientist, specialist of the brainwave, of the gamma brainwave. And he tests my brainwave and he decide to explain scientifically what I live. And Starseed Revelation 2 was born. It was amazing because this time no one can say, it was, oh, and I found a lot of footage of me when I was young, and a lot of thing, a picture of me with Victor. I will explain after with this Victor, but you know, and this is the proof that I was talking about this many decades before, because some people say, oh, Jean-Charles Moyen is an interesting guy, you have an interesting story, but I think it's a copycat of
Hmm.
Corey Good and Randy Kramer. And I say, no. I spoke about that many decades before. But at this moment, I don't have the possibility to explain myself what I live. And when it was the time to explain with my documentary, silence. No one says this because they were speechless. Because
Yeah.
how you could have adopt a doubt about this when you see parents, best friend, scientist, picture, video,
Mm-hmm.
audio, proof.
Yes.
That's okay. After this, it's a, how would you say, bad faith, because people say, I don't believe. Okay, you don't believe with all proof, I can do anything for you,
Yes.
you know. So after this, I decide to made another documentary. No, it's not this. I was on my office and I say, I would like to make another documentary about my past life, Starseed Evolution 3, because I remember when I was young, I have a past life in my memory. So this movie was Starseed Revelation 3, Japan Connection, because when I was young at 7, I dream, but when I say I dream, I will explain when I say dream. Uh, I go to my bed and instantly my head turned and I was pulled back and I opened my eyes and I was in another place, you know, like for this part, I was in Japan
Mm-hmm.
and I lived something, a contact with a being in the Mount Fuji with all detail. And when I came back to my bed, I decided to write in my little journal. When I was young, I have a journal and I explain everything I lived and I drawing and I explain everything. And at 7, I'm 57. So imagine at 7, there is no internet, nothing. And I can access of this information about all detail of my past life, what
Mm-hmm.
is my name, my village, the year when I was when I lived in Japan, and many decades after this, I decide to go to the Japan because I want to know what I lived was true, you know. And when I
Yes.
was in Japan, I found the evidence of everything I lived when I was 7, so 50 years ago, was true.
Yeah.
I I just explain very quickly, but I will explain more
Yeah.
after. Okay.
Yeah.
So, and during this is my part of a producer and what I made this documentary for people understand. Okay. After I will be more clearly. Okay. So uh, before Starship Evolution 3, I was in my office and I was asking to the star, give me a sign because I know something else will happen, but I don't know why. And I take a pause and take clean in my office. When I say my office, it's not my office, my desk. It's my office, my room. Okay. I have many move in my life. So I have a box with a lot of souvenir inside and a memory when I was young. And I don't know how, but I found a, a tape.
Mm-hmm.
That's very ancient.
Yeah.
So more people don't know what is this. The young people say MP3 and
Yeah. Right.
streaming
Yeah.
and no CD. But no, it was a tape,
Yep.
and I found a tape, and it was right inside on the tape. It was GC memory top secret, and I say, what is this? And I remember something very, very foggy. Like I remember when I was young, recording my voice, because at this moment I have only this device. If something happened to me, I want to let this message for people after, because at this moment I lived some very creepy thing that you can explain, or if you explain what you lived, you go to the crazy room, and you know.
Yes.
So, so I don't have a device to listen this. So I decide to make a research in internet, eBay, and I found an old player, uh, 80, 85, 80s, in the 80s, you know. So I buy it, and with Melanie, we were in the living room, and I say, "Okay, are you ready?" And I say, "Yes," and play. And we were speechless because, it was my voice when I was 17 and 16 and 18.
Wow.
That's crazy because, I lost my accent since I live in Quebec because, in 22 years before, I have a French accent, French accent, but
Mhm.
now it's a Quebec accent, Canadian accent. So it was very different. And I remember listen the siren of the ambulance and of the police, but if you heard, ta, 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 it's a siren of French siren at this the year, so it's
That
not a
time.
lie. And so what I explain in this tape, I explain who I am, what I live, my injury of my head, what I explain after, and everything I explain now, SSP, Secret Space Program, 38 years before anyone, whistleblower in the world.
Mhm.
So that's, you know, a big hammer.
Yes, it
and I
is.
and I made this, and I call this the secret records. And after this, I decide to make Starseed Revelation 3 for my past life in Japan.
Yeah.
So now, dear friend, I put the base of my story
Yes.
for people understand. Sorry.
No, I think it's wonderful just to intersect, like, so you can drink some water. It's very important how you just explained that, because there
Hmm.
are, in the age of disclosure,
Yes.
it is very Hollywoodized. There are a lot of movies that are stranger than fiction, and they do,
Yes.
and so there's a lot of confusion out there. There's a lot of introverted truths, and then
Hmm.
there are also a lot of truths that are Hollywoodized to make them look false. And so when there are people that, like you, making documentaries, it can make people feel like, oh, this guy's just another one of those people just trying to make money, or make himself look, insert himself for popularity just to be like everyone else. But no, you have facts, you have tapes, all of these things that you if and I highly recommend to everybody, watch these films. They are absolutely incredible. I have purchased almost all of them at this point, and I will be buying all of them, because they are very informative. They have a lot of evidence to support what you're saying, and it's credible. And you have a lot of credible guests that come on, whistleblowers, that also share their own testimony. And so it's important that you just explain that. So these are not just documentaries just made for fun, for Hollywood, for entertainment. You used a very creative way to share your story with visual effects and evidence and all of this in a very beautiful, productive way that I think helps the audience. Like you said, so you started with a fictionalized yet very true story to as a soft disclosure, and you did a very good job, and people will understand when they watch the first two, and then you slowly get in, and then you're like, all right, let me just tell you everything, and then it just gets more and more blunt as you go, because now you've laid the foundation, which is what you've just done for the audience right now. So let's go to the beginning, and let's talk about your first abduction, if we want to call it that, your first experience, let's call it that, where you met your star family and where this really began.
Yes. Thank you. So The first was when I was 4. Everything began when I was 4 in France on the beach. I was with my parents during a holiday, and I was playing on the ground on the sand in close to the sea, and my mom watched me, and everything was okay. And suddenly she raises her head, and no John Charles. I disappear. I really disappear. It wasn't okay. I take a walk. No, 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 no. I really disappear, and it was a panic because they lost John Charles, and so they asked to the lifeguard and a lot of people on the beach, "Did you see a little boy with a hat and etc.?" And no, 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 no. And it was very frightening because my parents at this moment think that maybe I was fall in the water, and that's was a wave, and in France there is a very huge wave and a very huge um, beach, very kilometers, and so and the little boy is very quick. You can run, and you can disappear in a fraction of a second and put inside the water. So the research was during 1 hour they search me and they don't find me. And suddenly my mom was crying with my dad, and she raised her head, and I was at the same place in a fraction of second. I wasn't there just 1 second before, and no full print on the sand, nothing. I was maybe on 1 meter, maybe close, but it's impossible. And no one saw me to move. I was there. After this, I explained to my parents I was playing on the sand and I was surrounded by like a fairy tale, you know, fireworks, firefly, firefly
Fireflies.
around me, and it was very bright, and I was afraid because uh, I quit my parents, but I was very happy because it was the first time I fly on the sky. I was in levitation inside a light, and I was attracted by the light, and I saw my parents, and it was exciting, but for me, it was very painful because I don't know what's happened. Sorry.
It's okay.
Mhm. So I say to my parents after I was on a kind of table, but it was a liquid table because when I moved, it it take my form,
Hmm.
and with four beings in the front, in the back, and left and right, being of light surround me and reassure me in telepathy and put his hand inside into my head to check something. I don't know why at this moment, okay? And they told me in telepathy, everything is okay. We are friends. Don't be afraid. And I remember there is a large window, and I saw the the earth flow like this, and I say, "Oh my God, I never saw my parents. It's over." And I begin to cry, and he was very kind with me and say, "Everything is okay, calm. Everything is okay. We don't want to hurt you." And after this, the light start to fade in, and another they disappear. The beings disappear, and another beings came into the room. He was tall, maybe 6.5 feet, and green skin, no hair, red eyes, in a suit. Exactly. He come to me, raise his hand, and follow me. And I wasn't afraid at this moment. I decided to follow him. I don't know why, because he was a trust inside of me, a power, very powerful.
Mhm.
Uh, I know I'm not in danger. So I decide to follow him in a great, great corridor. And I remember the light. I don't know where the light came from because it came everywhere. And we enter in a room, and in the room there is two tubes. And he told me, go inside this tube. So I decide to get in inside the tube. And suddenly I felt a lot of tingling inside my body and a warm around me, and my head began to turn and I lost consciousness in fraction of second. And when I opened my eyes, I felt something change. But you know, it's normal. I was dizzy and okay. I get out the tube, and when I was up to the tube, I was in the front of a big um, space view of the spaceship, and I saw my reflection inside the mirror, and it was like him.
You look like this guy. Yeah.
Exactly. Red eyes, green skin, no hair.
Mhm.
And he told me, welcome back, brother. My name is Victor. And he called me Luca. So I was at the same family of these beings at this moment. And he explained to me that it's not supposed to abduct me at this moment, but he need me, he need my help for something very important happen in the universe. So I was, um, you know, um, abducted for this mission. Okay, but it's not supposed to do that because I was incarnate into the John Charles body for my life, and after this, another things I can explain after. But at this moment, he need me, so he say, "Oh my God, we must get
Mhm.
Luca now." So he transfer me. I will stop this because after it was a lot of detail, and I don't want to lose people. But I made a mission with him. After this, I came back in the tube, and after this, I came back into the same place where I was playing on the ground in the body of John Charles. When I explained to my parents many months after, I'm not from here, I'm not from there. I explained, my name is Luca. And my parents say, okay. I explain what I look like. And okay, it was so detailed to invent at this age, four,
Yep.
5, 6. My parents testify in my documentary, and I asked to my parents, Dad, Mom, do you remember when I start to talk about extraterrestrial? Don't forget, we are in the 1973. Okay, we
Mhm.
don't have a TV, and I don't watch a movie extraterrestrial at 4. Okay, so
Yeah.
no
Yeah.
internet, no. And I say, my mom say, yes, I remember 6. How it's possible that your kid at 6 explain very, very detailed, very clearly what he lived? Imagination, maybe, but with this accurate, that's impossible. And I was sure what I lived, and I explained. And my parents know that I don't say a lie. Why? Because when I was born, during my birth, something very strange happened during my mom birth me. We were in France in 1969, and this day everything was okay. The weather was fine. Everything was okay. Okay, that's important. Suddenly, a storm. happened like this in the old um, France, Britain, and a lot of things in the France. Okay, remember because I wrote my book about my life now. It's very huge job, but I remember found a newspaper archives and what's happened in 1969 in Paris when I was born. And it was, the graduation is 9 or 10 when the power of storm, and it was 9. The three was exploded. There is many people die, and we don't know what's happened at this moment. But there is a big storm, okay, and there is a lightning only under the room of the hospital where I was. So there is something very strange, like something happened. Okay, at this moment, I don't want to say that because some people can say, okay, it's a prophecy, and no, 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 no. I don't say that. I just explain there is something very strange with a meteorologist, and I will explain after why I say this. So I was born during a storm, suddenly appear like by magic. But after my birth, something very special happened to me when I was a baby. When I was crying, like a lot of babies, I was interaction with electricity. When I was crying, the light was,
Mm-hmm.
freaking. And the the sequel is very, very, very special because when I was young with my mom, I was in a supermarket and suddenly I was very tired, and my mom say, "You must go to um, sleep." And I say, but we are in a supermarket." So I decide to research myself, and I say exactly this word to my mom. I'm a kid, okay? And I put my hand like this and close my eyes and say, I want to energy. I want to research myself. And suddenly, all the supermarket shut down in the dark. And my mom say, John Charles, is it you? And I say with a smile, yes, it's me. He say, put the light on, please. And the light starts. And the guys close to us with a box of peas was like this, traumatized. The guys listen everything because it was a conversation between me and my mom. So we don't remember there is a lot of, a wall and the guy was close the wall. We don't see the guys, but he listened everything. So my mom
Mm-hmm.
said, okay, okay, we go to the cashier to pay and get out the supermarket. When we go to the cashier, there is cash one, cash two, cash three with with a light, and it's open. You go to the cash, and I was like this. I look the light of the cash and I play to close and light, close light. And I was open, close. And my mom say, John Charles, stop it. It's not funny. And the same guys in
Yeah.
the same guys in another line was like this. He was shocked, because he say, okay, what's
Mm-hmm.
happened? It's a trick. It's a joke. No, no, it's not a joke. So this is a part of what happened in my life, very strangely with electricity. But each time I was stressed, I was sad. When I was close to something like electricity, everything shut down. Computer, audio. I don't have a watch because every watch stop. And my mom say, "Oh my God, she's new. Why she don't work?" And everything was there, like this. And some very creepy, yes, very creepy thing happened to me after. When I was a kid, when I go to sleep, when I wake up in the morning, I say to my My mom say, "What's happened tonight? Where are you go? Where are you went?" And I say naturally, "Oh, I was in the Bahamas and I was on the sea." And him and mother say, "Yeah, I know." And I say, "Why are you saying you know? Because you are tan." And I say, "What?"
Uh-huh.
I go to the bathroom and I was tan, okay, really tan, okay, and there
Mhm.
is a lot of white sand in the bottom of my bed and between my toes. And at this moment, we live in the ninth floor of apartment in Paris, so it's impossible. Okay, so
Yeah.
that's a lot of thing happen. Some people say, "Oh, it's astral travel." No, you can bring something when we are in astral
Yeah.
travel. You can bring some sensation or some vision, souvenir, but you can't take like this or something. No, impossible. So it was a really teleportation physically.
Yes.
And after this, I have a second experience to explain and to be sure that you are sure. Yeah, your kid get out the room tan with
Right. There's
white
sand
sand
in the
between.
bed.
Okay, so that's very strange. Okay, I was in exam in a school, in a little school, and during my exam, I was stressed like a lot of exam. So I decided to go to the toilet, and I raise my hand to see to the teacher. Sorry, I want to go to the toilet. Nobody asked me. Nobody answer me. Sorry, nobody answer me. And I realized at this moment the teacher and the student was frozen. Every like this. And I say, okay, this is my chance. So I go to the toilet. We are in the second floor. It's an old school. So there is just four wall with a door, with a lock, and no, you can't escape. No windows inside. It's a very old school. Okay. So I go to the toilet, and suddenly I was inside, and there is a timer for the electricity, 5 minutes, 3 minutes, and after that, ding, and you are in the dark, not a click. Okay. So I was inside,
Uh-huh.
and suddenly my head turned. I was little dizzy, and I felt tingling, and boom, shut down. I was in the dark. So I say, oh, okay. So I search the button to open. I open the light. I was already in the toilet, but not the toilet of the school. I was in a few kilometers from the school in the toilet of the apartment of my parents. Every stuff, my coat, my pen, my ID, my keys, everything was stay on the chair in the room classroom. And inside the toilet was locked inside. No John Charles inside.
But you were at home.
I was teleported into the toilet of the apartment of my parents.
Maybe you'd like that bathroom better.
So imagine my mom must say to me, "What are you doing here, John Charles? You're supposed to be in school." And I explain what's happened, and she say, "Okay, okay, I must phone to the director to explain." You explain? No, no. When I say explain, it's a joke. I will lie because I can't explain what's happened.
Right.
And I said, yes. So she lie and say I was sick, but the same day or the next day, I don't remember, the same day, I guess, the director called the guardian of the school to open the door, you know, because he was locked inside and no student can go to the toilet. Something inside, tang, 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 they knock, and they open and no one inside, nobody inside. So it was a proof that really teleportation, physically, not in a bed, But you can
Yeah.
explain in the bed why I am tan, why I bring some white ends. That's but let's admit some people say, but how you explain this? Okay,
Exactly.
I don't take the bus. My bus card was on my coat. Everything, my keys, because we have an alarm system at this moment. So you must put the code and put the key. There is two alarm system in the ninth floor, in a few kilometers, in a fraction of second. So that was very, very, very strange, and you can't explain to your family because there was very Christian, and they don't believe this, and they believe it's a demon or something else. So we keep this between my parents and my best friend at this moment. But something else happened to me, that when I was sick, my temperature in Celsius was too high for a kid.
Hmm.
46 degree or 47. So we can't go to the hospital, but
Right.
I was normal, huh? 46, 47, and I was like this. So no, you are dead.
What is
And
that in Fahrenheit? I have to Google it.
yeah, 47
47.
Celsius, not Fahrenheit, Celsius.
That's 116 degrees Fahrenheit.
Yes,
Okay. I had
yes.
I needed to know what that was. That, yeah, you
Okay,
would be
okay,
dead.
okay.
You dead. Yeah, got it.
That's not finished. I bleed like a lot of child. You bleed noise. Maybe you was cauterized. I think cauterized, cauterized.
Yes.
Yes,
Hmm.
but for me, my blood wasn't red. It was green,
Mm.
green, and on the pillow there is a lot of green and green here. And my mom say, "Oh my God, we must go to the hospital." And my dad say, "Are you crazy? They won't
Yeah.
keep
No.
our son and in a laboratory and say what's nothing. We can do nothing. We can do nothing because you have 47 degree of temperature. We can do nothing because he bleed green. He teleports in the school. What you want to explain to a doctor at this moment?" And in my tape, I explain this with
You
my
talk
voice
about it. Yeah.
at 16. So that's crazy, okay? So after this, I jump. After this, I had 12 in the night. I heard some noise in my room, and when you are young, you take your clothes like this randomly, and sometimes it looked like a form of something inside your room, and you are afraid of yourself because you say, "Okay,
Yep.
something. Look at me," and it is your clothes. But for
Yes.
me, yeah, I felt something inside my room very clearly, and I remember I was stick on my bed like something powerful stick me. And I say, if I was in another sense, maybe I can saw what's happened.
Hmm.
And I heard some, drawer opened and something, was search something. Okay, maybe this is a cat or no, but The next day, my dad said, no, the cat slept with us in the bed. Okay. And the next time, the next day, I decide to slept on my back to be able to open my eyes if something happened, you know?
Mhm.
And again, the same noise. I opened my eyes, and in the shadow, I saw a form of someone. And I saw, and I say, I see you. And the shadow stop to moving. Maybe he believe if I don't move, he don't see me. You know?
Yeah.
So at this moment, he move again, and I say, I see you. And he move, and he approach, he come to me, and get out the shadow, and it was the same beings when I was young, exactly. And he sat down on the bottom of my bed and say, hello, my name is Victor. I'm here to protect you. And I was, at the moment, I don't remember him, okay? That's very important because some part of my memory was, uh, you know, not removed, but,
Erase.
exactly. But I wasn't afraid, it's supposed to be afraid when you have something like this inside your room and we are very young, you are afraid. Huh? You are not, hey, how are you? So I was clearly normal. And he explained to me, I'm not supposed to see him because he's in a different frequency. But I was special. Remember when I was Luca? So my DNA was able to detect him inside my room. So he said to me, maybe I had a problem because we are not supposed to be in contact now. And he said, okay. And he disappeared. The next day, he reappeared in my room
Mhm.
and said to me, I asked to the conglomerate interplanetary the authorization to stay in contact with you. And they say yes, because in the future, we need some answer of question about your life. And exactly like he say, the next year at 13, I had a big accident when I was in the summer camp. I don't put my hat on my head and I had a huge sunstroke over my head. And I
Mhm.
was in emergency in a hospital. It was like a heartbeat inside my head and I was dehydrated. They put me a solution in my arm and they put me in an X-ray because my head was very hurts me. And first of all, when they uh, did the first X-ray, uh, the X-ray don't work because I was stressed. So I can imagine it was my fault. After this, they made a X-ray, and in the X-ray, they discovered something very strange inside my head, like a metal capsule. Exactly, it's a reproduction. Okay, and they say in the beginning, oh, maybe it's a dust. So we clean the X-ray radio, and they made another, and it was the same thing. And they say, okay, we have a problem. We want to put you in a room to observe you during a few days because you lost a lot of nutriments and a lot of water, so you must stay here in observation. So for me, it's everything is normal. So I go into the room and with a solution in my arm. And in the night, the X-ray doctor came into my room with a military guys. I was sometime I lost my consciousness because I was very dehydrated. So I was like this, and I put consciousness, and he was in my room, and he showed my X-ray radio to the military like this. And I say I remember in my mind say, why there is a military guys into my room? That's normal. That's not normal. And they talk together, and I try to understand what they say, but it was impossible because I don't understand what the military guys talk, because it is spoke in German. So I was okay. And I lost consciousness. They put me a mask with a green gaze over my nose, and I lost consciousness. Suddenly, I was wake up by someone shake me, and I opened my eyes. I was, what happened? And it was a old guys with a white hair, blue eyes, a military guys, and he said to me, "Hurry up! I don't want to miss the jump. Follow me." What? And
Yeah.
I'm a teenager, so this is an adult, huh? So I believe him. I think maybe they want to transfer me in another department because they found something very strange in my head. That's correct. That's a corroboration. So I follow him in the big corridor, and we arrive in the elevator. He opened the door. There is a military guys inside, dressed in black, with a red triangle on the chest, and glasses, black glasses. And he don't talk. It was like this. And we enter and close the door, and we go down, go down, go down. And I say, that's not normal. It's so deep for
Mm-hmm.
hospital. And I began to stress. And when I stress, you know what's happened? The lights are off. And the military guys, the old guys, put his hand on my shoulder and say, "Hey, kid, don't worry. We don't want to hurt you. Everything is okay. Keep cool. Take a deep breath." And instantly, whoops, everything was normal. And okay, we arrived on the basement of the hospital. The doors open, but it wasn't the same door where you enter in the beginning. It was another door appear like this.
Mm-hmm.
The metal was no ceiling inside, and open like this. Curious. But I go outside, and he say to me, "I leave you here because for me it's finished. So keep going alone. Good luck." Good luck. I'm in the basement of the hospital.
Right.
The guys, good luck, guys. So,
Yes. See you
you
later.
know, so it was a big, 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 big hangar. Hangar, I see. Hangar, ouais. Hangar, hangar,
Hanger.
a big
Hanger.
hangar. And there is a kid in a lineup, a boys, and close there is a girl. And there is a table with a woman, and say to me, "Put your hand in this little box." Put my hand, and there was a light swept like hot, like neon photocopy, like this.
Mm-hmm.
It was for analyze my DNA signature. and she gave me a suit, one piece suit, all black with the emblem on the chest. It was a Pegasus, a horse wing. And she told me, go to this way in the lineup. We were with a lot of kids, you know. So we follow the track and we enter in a big light, like a bubble soap, you know, with a different color like this, like a water in suspension. We enter inside and I felt a lot of tingling, and suddenly, in a fraction of a second, we were into another big room with a military, with a doctor, with a white suits. And in this place, they test our fear. And many failed, but not me for this test. And
Mhm.
the X-ray doctor said to me, come in. And there was a military guy. And he said to this military guy, this is the boy I told you. And he told me, go to this room. There is a shadow room, very, you know, little dark. I wasn't afraid. I go inside, but when I entered inside, I felt something was hidden in the shadow, very huge. And I was a little stressed, but you know, I felt inside of me a big power. And suddenly,
Mhm.
get out the shadow, a big mantis. And she approached me and talked to me in telepathy and put his big paw on my shoulder and told me, you have been chosen. And I collapsed. I opened my eyes in my bed in a hospital and I was like, oh my God, what's happened? And suddenly my head turned and I lost consciousness. I
Mhm.
don't remember how many times happened, but it was very short because I was awake. I was wake up by a klaxon. And I opened my eyes. You know, I was in my bed. There is 2 minutes, okay? And I was with my bag sat on the bus to return to the summer camp. How I get out, I don't remember. That's creepy.
Yeah.
So we arrive in the summer
Crazy.
camp. Yes. We arrive in the summer camp. And at this summer camp, I explained to my little friend what's happened in substance, you know, but it was a bad idea
Yeah.
because they mock me.
They're not gonna believe you. You know, they make fun of it.
Yes, they mock me and they treat me like a mutant monster and a lot of things. So I decided in the night to get out the chalet by the window, and I don't know where I want to go at this moment, but I want to escape of this room. And I go into a field, a large field, okay? And I was sat on the ground, on the grass, and I look up the sky and I say, I don't want to be here anymore. Come and get me. I don't know what I say this. I don't know. But something inside of me say say this. And suddenly there is a star moving like a shooting star. But she approached to me and it was a gold disc. And
Mhm.
I was struck by the light and I was teleported into a big spaceship. In the front of me, there is different creature. There is a lot of beings of different appearance. And in the middle, there is Victor. And he said to me, welcome aboard the Solaris. And at this moment, there is a huge corridor and a blonde woman with a bright blue eyes came to me and said, follow me. And she said to me, my name is Maria, but everyone called me Mary. And I follow her. And we were in a big corridor with a bright light. It was very pure. And we enter inside a room, look like a classroom. There is many, many, many kids in this classroom, but not humans. It was extraterrestrial kids.
Mhm.
Can you imagine? And she told me, go to this place. There is an empty place near this boy. And I arrived close a boy. He was a human boy too. And this guy's was name was David. Remember this. So that's important for the for the rest of my story. So we
Okay.
were together, the only humans in the spaceship, and we were trained.
This one
Yeah,
Solaris, right?
yeah, the Solaris. Yes, it looked like this. Yeah. We were together for the training during a lot of years, and it's like a school in Earth. You visit some different places, some different spaces, so different planets, and training with mentees, training for the future mission because they prepared the kids for rescue mission in the future, and they train our mind to create something else because we I will explain this. We will fight a reptilian Draco, and the reptilian Draco is big spaces, very exactly, but there is many huge Draco, Alpha
Many
Draco.
different races. Yeah.
Exactly. And these Draco have the abilities to telekinesis, telepathy, and they can read in your mind and know what you do before you do. So our training was to project like a snow screen to the Draco because the Draco don't know what we want to do before. Not, it was very mind training. You know what I mean?
Yes.
That Mary said that maybe it's difficult to people to understand, but when you are in front of the Draco, imagine if you want to kick the Draco, he know what you want to do before you do. So he can be very quick before. So it was a part of my training with the mentees and with the other kids. So I was very close to the mentees because we are friends. And I had a friend, very strange friend, like a reptilian. There is a good reptilian, okay? That's important to clarify because some people say, "Ah, reptilian, oh my God." No, 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 no. There is a good human, there is a good reptilian, and there is a bad human, and there is a bad
Yes.
reptilian. That's very important. So with aquatic beings, blue beings, cat people, feline beings, we have a lot of species, very kind. The appearance was very strange, but some creature can be very strange, but with a big heart, and
Hmm.
some can be very beautiful, but be careful, you
Yes.
know. So I was trained in this spaceship during many years, and after this, I was sent again in the summer camp. But what's happened after is very important. When I was at, I think it was 18, my first job was work in bank archives. It was the bank where my mom works, and you can to the first job of your kid. You can, okay, after the summer camp, you are two adults, so you don't
Yeah.
go to the summer camp. So my first job was the job of my mom, and I was in the archives. And a lot of my friends have grow, and now some people I don't meet again since a lot of years. And, oh, hey, how are you? You are tall now, and now what do you do in your life? And I found the same people was mock me at this moment, you know,
Hmm.
when I was a kid. So I was in the front of these guys in the cafeteria, and the guy say, and did you believe to extraterrestrial again, John Chow? And and I say, I'm not a kid now, so be careful what you say. And I get out the cafeteria, and the guys was behind me, say, John Charles, and I say, yes. You remember me? And I say, yes. I want to talk to you. And I say, what? What do you want to talk to me? I say, do you remember this night when you get out the chalet? I say, yes. And when you go to in the middle of the field? Yes. I follow you. And I say, what do you mean? I was afraid that you made a mistake. You are 13. You are, people mock you, and we don't know what's can pass into the mind of a teenager.
Right.
So he decided to follow me. He was um, hidden in a field, and like this, to
Yeah.
look at me what I do. And suddenly he saw me, sat on the ground, and looked up the sky, and he saw a gold disc appear
Wow.
and abduct me. He was traumatized. He was afraid. He run, he run, he run. He arrived inside the chalet, closed the window, put his bed behind the door, blocked everything, and was like this. And look, my bed was empty. And he fight for sleeping, but at the moment he closed the eyes. And when he opened the eyes, I was in my bed. No doors open because he was blocked the door
Just
with his head, and the window was locked. So I say, you kidding me? You mock me. And after many years, you told me, you tell me this in the corridor. Do you, what do you think at this moment for me? How
hmm
can I feel at this moment? And he told me, I'm so sorry, Johnson, but I
hmm
don't want to talk this anymore. And I never seen this guy before. He disappeared, and I think he was moved in another province in France. And but for me, it was a corroboration. I wasn't crazy,
Yep.
because when you live this and you can't share your story with a lot of people except your dad, your mom, and but sometimes you are alone, and I am the only son. So that's very difficult because you can share something, but you can't share everything because some people can judge you you know so that's not easy for kid to live this strange experiences, encounters, and you know that you are different, but you can talk about it.
Yes.
So now I'm able to explain what I live because the time changed and there is a
Yes.
many whistleblower and disclosure. There is a people lying and people don't lying, but that's very difficult with artificial intelligence now to make the that
Yeah.
people will be lost and say, okay, it looked like real, but it's not real. And is it real? And that's sad because some people begin to believe and now they don't believe because they don't know what is true, what is not true. And this is the reason when I explain with my movie and I explain this is not a movie, this is a documentary I made. But my first movie was made like this to
Hmm.
be very soft,
Yeah.
to don't
Soft
not
disclosure.
exactly. So
Yes.
this is a part of my life. I have a lot of thing to explain, but it's
I
you
mean,
know
we could go on for hours because your story is this is just like 10% of your story, and thank you so much for sharing so much so clearly. You speak very well, and
thank you.
it's
I
very
made my my
yeah,
best.
yeah, no, and you do a great job, and all the examples I think helps. And the reason that I want to talk about this today, and the reason I invited you on, and the reason I'm calling it, secret space programs and extraterrestrial realities, is because this is a very real thing. This is not a phenomenon. This is not a
Yeah.
weird anomaly. This is not a conspiracy. There
Mhm.
are multiple universe, infinite amount of universes and galaxies out there. There are an infinite amount of races. Just like you said, there are good reptilians, good humans, bad humans, good cat people, and not good cat people, etc., etc., etc. But at the end of the day, we are experiencing an interdimensional, extraterrestrial, multi-universal war, and and humans are are part of the prize for many reasons, and we won't get too dark in this interview, and I encourage people to watch your documentaries to learn why and the reasons why. But the reason I'm bringing you in is because children are very sought after, and the reason for that is because children have a lot of unique abilities, and they're having a lot more unique abilities as they're coming in with higher frequencies into these third dimensional bodies, because we are able to hold higher densities of consciousness as the generations have come to pass. And that's kind of the work that I do. And so it's really important to talk about these subjects right now, what you're bringing in. And it is the age of disclosure, because it is the part of the awakening where we really do come together unified and fight back. And so, these Dracos, they're not a fake species. And the picture I just found off the internet, that's just one example. There are many depictions of them, and they are very powerful. They are very psychic, very intelligent. So
Mm.
we're working against a species that are very powerful, and so the secret space program, is very real. Is what do you want to share your experience, and with the audience? What is it? Because just like I'm trying to articulate, just like there's a good aspect of the secret space program and abductions, there are also bad abductions and
Mm.
darker programs within. So there's always a good side and a dark side. You are part of the secret space programs where you have volunteered and you are a part of it consciously,
Mm.
but there are also those that people are taken, and they are not consenting, at least not consciously. Can you talk about that real quick and explain that a little
Yes,
bit?
yes. Exactly. There is a many secret space program from different country, but for me, I was in a part of the good side. That's important. My friend, you say when you say reptilian, people say it's bad. When you say secret space program, people say, "Oh my God!" No. Each In the life there is a good side and a bad side. It's equilibrium. But if the bad side exists, don't forget the good side exists. But we don't talk about the good side. We focus about the bad side because we feed the fear of people and say abduction is bad. And you know, some abduction, I know the word of abduction is not right because abduction is, trap. No, when
Um,
I say abduction, it's like a close encounters, a contact. For me, I was abducted, but I was take take it.
take them.
So maybe I must be changed abduction, but forget it for the word. But you understand, and the people, your followers understand what I mean. So I was in a good space program because my mission was, and my training with this kid was for the future to rescue children in space was trapped and abducted by the tall gray, by the reptilian Draco. Okay.
Mhm.
I was in the front of Draco, but I was in the front of Black Draco with a wing on the back and very huge and very, very dangerous. During a mission, I was very injured and I was close to die, and my team saved me, and I was put inside a med bed. I was floating on the water with a crystal, and I was healed, totally healed. Okay, so I know there is a good and a bad beings what wrapped some beings and some humans, and some humans are trade like a currency in a
Yes.
space. There is not only in earth, traffic human trafficking. There is a human trafficking in the space, but
Hmm.
in the space we don't have a law. So laws are so, jurisdiction and that not exist. Oh, I'm in Mars. What can I do for you? You are not on Earth. You are on Mars, on another planet, or a prison planet, or something else. So we can. So he exists a good side of secret space program working for the good side.
Yes.
That's very important because some people say, if I was in space program, it will be bad. No, no. For my case, I was in a good team, and everything we did with art, with love, and we rescue a lot of people from base, from prison, from a lot of things, from dimension, with alien technology inside of the spaceship. And my spaceship was a spaceship mix France and America.
Yes.
It was a part of the Solar Warden, the Solar Guardian. One you there is many, many, many names, but it was a a piece of this fleet. Okay, my name of my spaceship was the Solaris, and inside there is a technology amazing.
Hmm.
We have a cabin when we can rest, and there is a little med bed. We can program it, and we can put 8 minutes equal 8 hours of sleeping. There was a cafeteria inside the spaceship. We have the picture of what you want, but it's not what you get. It's like a baby food.
Hmm.
And you put your hand on the screen, it detects what you need in your body. There is a lot of things we can explain. I
There's
know.
there's so many things. I just We've talked before. We're gonna do it. We're gonna have to do a part two, Jean Charles,
Hmm.
because there's just no possible way that we
Yes,
can
yes, yes.
explain all of this in one.
Sure.
But the point of this video, I just want to be clear, is not to scare people, and that's why I
Yeah.
invited you on, because you have a very well spoken, very articulate way to to show that there is good in the universe and that we have help, and there are versions of ourselves, just like there's Jean Charles Moyen here. There's also Luca, right?
Luca. Yes.
Luca, and the other version of yourself someplace else. And then there are other versions of yourself in other realities. And it's same for everybody watching us. There are many versions of ourselves working together, unified to participate in some way. And not everybody's a warrior. So I believe that there are versions of myself out there, and I am the healer, I am a mentor, I'm an emissary. There are warriors. There are all sorts of guardians out
Hmm.
there in the universe working together in different variations of alliances to help, because this is a galactic war. It's not just about Earth. It's not like they're like, ah, whatever, nobody cares about Earth, because it affects all of us, and we have star
Hmm.
families that are connected to Earth that want to protect their family. So this is very complicated. It's very convoluted. It's very layered, and it's very quantumly entangled. And that's why it's important to talk about this difficult topic of what's happening in our reality right now, in relevancy of 2026. What is going on in our political system? In every aspect of our reality, there is a collapse occurring because there is other aspects of ourself multidimensionally that are working, other versions of ourselves, to create, to first of all, to take back control, to activate and empower us so that we can recreate a beautiful world. And it starts with us working and evolving together. But there is a lot of sabotage out there. There are a lot of people that are pretending and infiltrating this movement, that are part of the darker side. So you, like you said, you have to be careful who you trust, who you talk to, what you watch, what you believe. And
Hmm.
that's why I brought you on here, because I think you're full of integrity. I think your documentaries can help a lot of people see the truth, but not in a fear-based mentality. And it can help them use clarity to understand what's happening and how they can contribute, or perhaps how they are contributing. Maybe it'll spark their memories, and how we can all work together. And that's why I invited you on, because I think that's what you're here to do. Is you're here to help, but you're also here to spread the word in a way that's enlightening and empowering. I got you speechless.
Uh, uh, my last word.
I really
uh,
appreciate you coming on and sharing all of this. I know it's not easy, but I know that you've shared your story so many times now that it's probably getting easier for you to share. And you're very articulate, very good at explaining everything. Is there any last? We will do a part two, and we will explain your newest documentary about your
mhm.
life in Japan and how it's relevant to today. But
Yeah.
how can we leave the audience today? What are some things that you can say that might make people feel a little bit better, that are worried, that are
Mm,
scared,
mm,
that are
mm.
buying into the fear? What are some things that you can help? How can you help people today feel more aligned with
Ah,
where they're going?
my advice is believe in yourself, stay connected to your inner child, because we have the answer inside of you. Stay connected with yourself. And you don't care what people think about you, because there is people love you and people hate you each time. So stay focused, and very important, don't listen the bad wave around you, because these bad waves is to feed the fear of people, and you can create another egregor of a new reality. If a lot of people, the power of pray, when there is a million people pray in the world, something happen. It's like this. You must believe everything you can do it. It's, believe
Yes.
in yourself. This is my word. And I say, stay connected to your inner child, because the love is the key. That's my last word.
Yes. I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. The more you are in the vibration of love, the less the ego and the power can take over you, which is how the fear feeds off of your ego and the power.
Mm,
The more you want the power and the ego and the fame and the money and the fortune and all the 3D kind of foundational things. That's how they hook into people and infiltrate them. So if you stay as an inner child with
yeah,
joy and peace and happiness and innocence and love, that darker side cannot take over you. And it's a beautiful thing. Thank you, Jean-Charles Moyen, for coming on this channel today,
thank
for
you.
sharing your time, for explaining your story, at least part of it, because there's so much more. I am going to leave the link to your website, and I strongly encourage you to check out his documentaries. How many are there? How
6.
many did you have? 6. Check them all out, and I guarantee you, if you click on one, you will click on the next one and the next one and the next one. And Jean Charles Moyen puts his heart and soul and his life, his life's work into this, as well as his beautiful wife Melanie. And so please support him. He does charge for these films, but that's how he's able to support himself, continue his work, and to create more documentaries. So by purchasing these documentaries, you are funding and helping Jean Charles continue to disclose. And so please look at it that way. It is an investment not only in your understanding and expanding your knowledge, but it is an investment in the future of of humanity, I believe, because your documentaries should be everywhere. They should be on Amazon Prime and Netflix and all of these they really should be, because they're very well done and they're very informative. But of course, the powers that want to be are going, are not going to allow that. So for now, they are available for purchase, and I highly recommend you check them out. They are very, very well done. Thank you, Jean Charles, for coming on my channel today. I am very honored to have you here.
Me too. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate. Thank you very much. Have a nice day. And thank
You're
you to
so
your
welcome.
followers to have the time to listen my life. I know maybe it was, I jump, but I try to focus what's very important, but everything is important. So sorry if I lost some people in the curve.
I think it was absolutely perfectly done and very timely and in the order that actually made the most sense. And so I think people will agree. Leave
Thank
comments,
you.
let us know. We look forward to having you come back, Jean Charles. Thank you so much. Thank you to everybody watching. I hope this video has found all of you well. And until next time, I'll see you guys all again soon. Bye.